Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Double Header with Amir Keenan and Keenan Costain. And would you know it? Week 17 is upon us in the NFL season. And also, anyone familiar with this? Whoever carried these into a stadium? Well, it's going to play a factor in our upcoming episode. Stay tuned, folks. All right. So, regular season finale is coming up this Sunday. You know what that means? Teams fighting for division titles, the last playoff spots, the home field advantage, and people are going to be doing a lot of scoreboard watching, no matter where they're at, or the bar, the stadium, or at home, or checking on their phones, or back in the day, portable radios. Ever have one of these?
Um, Now that you mention it, I think so. Somewhere in the first house I lived at, maybe portable. Probably like a, I don't know. Kind of reminds me of this old MP3 players or Walkman you would carry with like a cassette player.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, well, yeah, Walkman, MP3, iPods, and what have you.
Well, the iPod didn't come until maybe 2006, 2007, somewhere around there. But I remember when I was growing up a little bit, we had those little cassette players,
Oh yeah, I remember those too.
and we had the radios, and we actually had the radios with them as well. So to answer your question, yes, I'm 97% sure I've had something like that.
All right, yep. Yeah, of course, I have one. And of course, nowadays you can get the radio on your phones. But back in 2003, when it came to, like, say, the last week of the regular season, well, we didn't have Red Zone, we still had ESPN, but we didn't have, but, how do I put it? There wasn't like week 17 all divisional matchups back then. It's fitting I'm bringing it up because this week on Sunday night, it's going to be battle for the NFC North between the Lions and the Vikings. And what do you know it? 2003, the Vikings were also fighting for the NFC North, but this time against the Packers. Leads me into my first slide. So, what do you know about, say, the 2000 Packers, Big Keenan?
The 2000 Packers or the 2003 Packers?
Well, oh, 2003 Packers, to be more specific.
Well, the only thing I only remember learning about from 2003 is when the Panthers and Patriots faced off against each other, right?
Yeah, and mentioned that we'll get to the Patriots shortly. But does his name sound familiar? Brett Favre?
Oh yeah, Brett Favre. Yep. Which we talked about before in our previous episode. I can't remember which one, but I'll put it in the upper screen right now.
That'll be 11/24 episode, and that year Green Bay went 12-4, won the NFC North for the first time, getting his realignment, but got bounced in the playoffs for the first time at home in franchise history by the Falcons. Meanwhile, Minnesota, they got to a very slow start, but rebounded to finish the year 6-10. So, all right. So 2002 was a good year for Green Bay, not okay one for Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean they look pretty solid, with Minnesota and of course Green Bay is pretty much ran the North everywhere they went.
Oh yeah, I mean, heck, they had the NFC North locked up by Thanksgiving weekend. It was like not even close.
Ooh, so yeah, when it comes to this team, you're right. Definitely definitely some good players on there for sure. If you can read some of them off, excuse me.
Yep, so we got Brett Favre. Let's be better off with the toast reader because why the heck not? We are talking about the NFL here. Got Brett Favre. Got who else? Ryan Longwell, Mon Green. Keep that name in mind. Donald Driver and Bubba Franks and Hardy Nickerson, who fortunately was not resigned after the 2002 season. And of course, for Minnesota, you still had Randy Moss and Dante Culpepper and Michael Bennett. So you have the talent, just need to translate into wins. And well, you know it. The first month, the 6 games of the season, guess it's in first place in the NFC North. Minnesota Vikings.
Well, that doesn't come. in any shape of surprise here. You know, Minnesota and Green Bay is is one of those rivals where you gotta is definitely must watch TV, especially for this season.
Oh yeah, because in fact, opening day, first game at the new renovated Lambeau Field, Minnesota upset the Packers 30-25, and of course got won the next 5 games, and we're 6-0, and looked like NFC North title was all but inevitable. Green Bay, they're 3-4, and not looking too good.
Now 3-4 and not looking too good at all. So let's see what happens.
Well, let's see here. Well, keep in mind this is the 6-0, so we're like barely at the part of the season. So what do you know? It Green Bay goes on their bye week, comes out of the bye, beats Minnesota in Minnesota on national TV, and then they win on their next 3 games, and they stand 3 of their next 7. Well, they're actually 6-6 going into the final month of the season. Whereas Minnesota, they would hit a cold streak and win, losing 5 of their next 6 games and staying at 7-5 going into the final month of the season, and three of which the last coming against the Chargers, who will play a factor later down the road. So take note of that, everybody who's watching or listening on their mobile devices.
Yeah, so that's interesting to note. So Amir, let's proceed.
Yep. So final month of the season, playoffs are on the line. When you know it, after they dominate, Packers win 3 straight. Minnesota wins 2 of their next 3. Both stand at 9-6 after they dominated Oakland and Kansas City respectively. But Minnesota does have the tiebreaker because they have one loss in the division, where Green Bay has 2, opening day against the Vikings and finishing against the Lions. So here's the deal: Minnesota wins their final game. Again, regardless of what goes on in Green Bay, they win the North. But if the Packers win and the Vikings somehow lose, they win the North. So sounds kind of like a Mission Impossible type ordeal for the Packers, but simple for the Vikings, right?
Your mission, if you choose to accept.
Yep. Well, Packers are going to accept because playoff berth's on the line, and Minnesota's like they haven't been in the playoffs in 2 years, so we're not taking not ghosting this one either. So let's see, who did they got in the week 17? Let's see. Yeah, Packers. You got the Denver Broncos, who are 10-5, and then the Vikings got an Arizona team that's 3-12. Okay, let's start with this Cardinals team. Well,
Well,
any gotta go back to 2002. Got to a good start, 4-2, but after that, yeah, only won one game in their final 10 and finished your 5-11. And Mr. Coach Dave McGinnis, yeah, your seat is getting, no pun intended, hot in the desert because that's the 3rd year in a row you finished in last place in your division.
yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow. Getting off the hot start, and then all of a sudden, cold start, just like that.
Oh yeah, part of the reason why they went into a slump in the last half of 2002 is, well, your offense can't score and defense can't stop anybody. So what do you do in the offseason? Well, make 2 additions. You should be familiar with the names Emmett Smith and Anquan Bolden.
Yes, Emmett Smith does definitely ring a bell, and I meant to say cold streak instead of cold start, but you knew what I meant.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So they signed Emmett Smith from the Cowboys, and then they drafted Anquan Bolden, helped boost their offense. And Anquan, well, I mean, heard before, he had a great rookie year, made the Pro Bowl, and won rookie of the year, offensive rookie that is. But they didn't get the same impact from Emmett and Jeff Blake and a few other offense and defensive players. And fortunately, after a 3-5 start, they lost 7 in a row. And you might recognize this man right here.
Why is that name sound, or why does that face look so familiar?
Uh, Josh Tears and McCown.
Not the one and only. Yeah, yeah, number 12. I was like, that couldn't be. I'm like, wait a minute, it is.
Yep, he was second year in the NFL, which we talked about him in our international episode, which took place 3 years after this game, or 2 seasons after this game, excuse me. And well, by late in the season, he took over Jeff Blake, and well, didn't run over the fans because the Cardinals were losing, and he was like not the future. But there's a guy by the name of I don't know, Eli Manning. He's slated to go number one in the draft, and he could be the future of the
Yeah,
Cardinals.
maybe. I mean, the odds are looking pretty good if you're Arizona, right?
Well, for the number one pick, yes. Dave against his job, it's a foregone conclusion. He's not going to be done in the headset for the Cardinals in 2004. But fans in Arizona, despite room for a team that's dead last in offense and defense, they're saying, well, forget that. Let's play spoiler.
I like playing spoiler. I like playing the underdog.
Well, Arizona's embracing it because what do we have to lose? I mean, it's not like we're going anywhere.
No, no, and I mean they're gonna get better eventually. So why not? Why not start now, right?
Oh, yeah. And mind you, keep in mind, dead last in scoring defense, dead last in scoring offense. So I want everyone to keep that in mind as well. As for the quarterback you see right there, Mr. Jake Plummer, he was sent packing after the 2002 season and signed with the Broncos, who, interestingly enough, their last game in 2002 came against the Cardinals, where they dominated them 37-7. But it was bittersweet because they ended up missing the playoffs despite due to a late season slump after they got to a very good start when they couldn't upset the defending champion Patriots, who yeah, they beat Tom Brady, so that's a good highlight though too. But couldn't unfortunately finish the deal, and part of the reason why, well, the Broncos lost to the Colts, which allowed the Colts to get that last wild card spot. So 9-7, good, but not good enough in the Rockies.
Definitely not good at all. And if you're Indianapolis, you gotta feel pretty good about yourself getting the last wild card.
Oh yeah, too bad it didn't work out because they ended up getting trounced by the Jets, but that's neither here or there. As for the quarterback, Steve Berline, yeah, he's not the guy, and Brian Greasy been good, good. It's been good, but we're gonna have to move in a different direction. And Mr. Plummer, here you go, sir. This is your time to shine. Regroup, because there were some good moments in Arizona, but forgettable ones.
Forgetful ones is right, but he had the keys. He had the keys to the team. Could have done something with it.
All right, let's see what happens. So I got to a good start, 4-1. So okay, that's good start. Good start for Denver. But of course, it's been a trend where they can't keep it up, and by mid-November, after losing ironically to the Patriots at home, it's time getting a little bit on edge in the Rockies.
Mm. On the edge and a bit of a head scratcher.
Oh yeah, but what I've heard, you guys have won 5 of your next 6, and after you beat the Colts in Indianapolis, you clinched the playoff spot, and well, now that you're locked into your playoff seeding, the 6th seed, might as well rest some of the starters. So Jake Plummer, Rod Smith, Shannon Sharp, Clinton Portis, rest it up, enjoy, stay on the sideline, get ready for the playoffs. Meanwhile, some of you guys who are trying to get some need a roster spot or looking to make an impression, this is your chance.
Yeah, definitely is a chance with all those starters being rested after winning their five out of the last six, which is quite the feat.
Yep, and mind you, we're playing a Packers team that's got a lot to play for. So heck, we can knock them out of the playoffs on their home field, and it's not like the team out in Arizona is going to do anything, right?
Uh, who knows? Anything can happen in the NFL, just like you tell me all the time here. So.
Yep, it's funny you should say that because now we get to the guys who are going to call the game. So we're gonna have I don't know 2 TV sets near. If you have them, turn them on. Have a radio nearby. Maybe if you're at I know a Tempe or a Lambo. Just maybe bring one of these with you, portable radio or Walkman with you, because I know they're gonna keep the. They're not going to show those scores at your respective stadiums. But there'll be a lot of Viking fans in Tempe, so I haven't said all that. For the Packers Broncos Packers game, we got Phil Sins, Armin Gatan, and now late Greg Gumbel. Rest in peace, sir. And then,
And remember, folks, we this is 2002, 2003, 2004, and streaming was not part of the equation yet. So you couldn't go back and forth simultaneously through channels quickly enough quickly enough now than you could do for or quickly now you than back then where you had like a certain amount of channels. So you basically just had cable, and that's about it.
oh, Sunday Ticket was around. It'd been around at this point, 10 seasons in the NFL, so you could do that. And unfortunately, ones are not in local teams market. So yeah, you were able to like watch both games simultaneously in that regard, unless you had a satellite to pick up a lot of channels. Anywho, speaking of the other game, Chris Myers and Bill Romanowski will be at Sun Devil Stadium, which we also covered the game at Sun Devil Stadium in our Pat Tillman tribute episode, who by the way was still alive at the time of these events, but he sadly not be around for the 2004 season. So rest in peace to him as well.
Yeah, that's a young Chris Myers on the top right of your screen. And around this time, he was getting into NASCAR on Fox, doing some pre-race commentary for the pre-race show.
Yep, and also Bill Romanowski, former Bronco and Raider, who he just played his last game a few months earlier and retired due to concussions, is now where a lot of NFL players go, doing broadcasting games. So he's going to have some choice words, I would assume.
Yeah, and you would think that the commentary factor has changed a lot today with players going into the broadcast booth, but that's not the case. Uh, back in the early 2000s.
Well, yeah, it's changed. There's been some minor changes here and there. I mean, of course, Phil Sims, he's been doing it at this point for almost a decade, and then Greg Gumbel, of course, he's been doing this for almost like 3 decades at this point, and you got Chris Myers, of course, he's been doing this for a while, and then you got Bill Ronowski, a little new to the game, but of course, he's going to have a lot of insight. He played in the NFL for 88 to 2003. So with 5 different teams and 4 Super Bowl rings go with it.
Yeah. But I'm just curious. Do you know when Chris Myers started commentating? I mean, I bet you. Excuse me. I know you put out like an educated guess, but I'm trying to look this up on Google right now.
I believe 97 when he joined Fox. I know he started at ESPN.
Yeah. Well, Miles has worked for Fox since 2003, so yeah. So this was a young Chris Myers on the scene, or younger Chris Myers, because right now he is currently he's around in his mid 60s, so 64, 65 years old. So, uh, yeah, I was just curious because he did National Fox. I think 2001 when National Fox took over.
I think he might be right. It feels like he was with Fox earlier, but then I remember he with the 90s was mostly with ESPN. But having said all that, yeah, Myers is going to call the game in Arizona with Bill Romanowski, and also, oops, there we go. Got special appearances by Paul Allen of the Vikings, Wayne Larrivee of the Packers, and Bob Coosh of the Arizona Cardinals.
And we talked about Bob Cooch before. I know that.
I know we
Did
covered the
we?
Cardinals a few times, but we didn't include any of these on audio, which we covered
Okay.
in the 2005 game. And Wayne Larrabee, I think this might be the first time we covered you or included you in the episode, and Paul Allen. They always bring the goods calling Packer and Viking games, including this past Sunday
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Minneapolis.
So to reiterate that we have talked about Bob before, which is on the bottom of your screen. We have put bottom up a few times, so that's why that name sounds familiar. Because it sounds like legal
Hmm. I haven't settled that. It's going to be Chile and Green Bay, and unseason me Chile and Tempe. So, what's the predicted outcome you have for these games, Keenan?
Well, uh, I'm gonna say maybe a 21-4.
21-24 score for which game?
The I'm drawing a blank today, folks. So please forgive me. Uh, run run that by me again of the teams again.
Minnesota, Arizona, Denver at Green Bay.
Green Bay, will win, and Minnesota will win. The
Uh,
yeah, those are the teams I'm picking.
sounds about right. So we're basically saying the both teams will win, but Minnesota will win the North and they'll go to the playoffs. Green Bay, well, it's going to be all for nine.
All for naught. Yep, that's my pick. Yep.
All right, let's see what happens. So the game in Arizona kicked off first. It's 4:05. So keep in mind this is back in the day when they didn't have all divisional games and they would be rotate off like one network get the national game and then say CBS this year and Fox next year. So the Packer Denver game kicked off 10 minutes afterwards. Having said all that, well, Minnesota, you get the ball first. You have the top rated offense, and well, you show it off in the first possession, 54 or 13 plays and 54 yards. And on fourth and goal, will they punch it in? I mean, you got should.
Yep. So we'll see. I mean, I think that sounds reasonable.
All right, let's see what happens on fourth and goal from the Arizona one.
And the Vikings are going for it. They want to earn the NFC North title. Culpepper throwing. Incomplete. The Cardinal defense stopped them.
Oh, so 13 plays and no points.
Ah, that's a huge blow. Coming up with nothing, incomplete, and it's like we did all that for nothing.
Yep, that was intended for a tight. That Culpepper pass was intended for tight end Hunter Goodwin, and well, he overthrew him by at least 3 yards, so that didn't work out. I'm currently in Green Bay. They get the ball first, that being the hometown Packers, and while they travel 80 yards to the Denver 2 yard line, if they cash in,
Still with the football. Throws. End zone. Almost intercepted. Spot. Touchdown. Double Tranks caught the tip pass. And the Packers take the lead.
that's not quite how you draw it up, but hey, that's how you start a game. First possession, get in the red zone, score a touchdown.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how you execute as long as you get the touchdown. Green Bay is on the board. Is on the board first.
Yep, and that came with 8:55 to go in the first quarter at Lambeau Field. Meanwhile, back in Tempe, Arizona gets the ball and they have to start their own 1 yard line. But this last ranked offense, well, that focus doesn't deter them because they drive the length of the field in 14 plays, and when you know it, they guess who scores first? Arizona, Neil Rackers from 32 yards out, or 22 yards out, excuse me, with 51 seconds remaining in the first quarter. So, hey, that's good news if you're a Packers fan.
Yep, that is good news if you're a Packers fan. You're scoreboard watching with this Arizona game, and with Green Bay taking the lead, that's gonna help.
Oh yeah, and well, and by I should also add again the score of that game was not shown at Lambeau Field for Mike Sherman's request, but of course, you got these right here, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on? What just happened? Arizona just scored first. All right, good.
Well, I mean, my question is, were they? able to have those allowed on the sideline.
Well, not the players, but the fans in the stands. They were, keeping track of the game.
Yeah, well, that's another thing too. That's what I want to bring up too. That the fans had those portable radios, like you just mentioned in a little show and tell, Amir. But yeah,
Mhm.
uh, that's good if you're Green Bay, and that's good if you're Arizona. And as for Minnesota, see if they can turn it around.
Yep. But first, we're going back to Lambeau, and of course, Jake Plummer is going to be resting for the playoffs. In comes Jarius Jackson making his first NFL start. Yeah, let's just say first possession. Okay, didn't work out. 7 plays, not much. But your defense comes to the rescue in the next 2 possessions, forcing consecutive 3-and-outs. So okay, so no, Denver's defense is stepping up at Lambeau. So what's the latest in Tempe? Okay, so I'm reading here. Okay, Vikings had the football. They get another long drive, 13 plays, 54 yards, but they still can't come away with points. As Aaron Elling pushes a 44-yard field goal to the right, and with 9:58 to go in the second quarter, it's 3-0 in favor of the Cardinals.
Well, no scoring yet for the opposing Minnesota Vikings, and you still feel you still feel pretty good for those Wisconsin fans. And I mean, this is like this is kind of like what we're doing all our own version of red zone, Amir.
Yeah, or or Sunday Ticket, which guy I think who did it. I forget who did it at this time, but it wasn't Spencer Tillman. But yeah, and also Jay Brown for Fox and Jim Nance for CBS would show the updates on the screen every now and then, showing what's going on as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, good
Definitely.
comparison with Red Zone.
Yeah. Shout out to Scott Hansen.
Yep, and Andrew Siciliano who did it for DirecTV. Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah, I tried to get the DirecTV package, but it was like too much, unfortunately. At least in my.
Yeah, but speaking of getting back to the game at Lambeau and making the most of opportunity or lack thereof, Mr. Jarius Jackson, well, it's things are not looking too good for you out there.
From the 27. With time, going for the end zone. Intercepted in the end zone.
Whoops, wrong one. Here we go.
Jackson looking for room. Making time. Throws. It is intercepted. Al Harris, 40, 30, tripped up, and he is down inside the 30-yard line.
Okay, so yeah, that wouldn't, not the way you want to start out, Mr. Jackson.
No. So I mean, that's definitely not a good start. And for if you're Arizona, you're like, okay,
Yeah, and same with Green Bay. 'Cause now after that first possession, your offense has gone 3-and-outs, and now you got an interception. So see if they can convert.
By Sam Brandon from the 27. With time, going for the end zone. Intercepted in the end zone by Sam Brandon.
Okay, so that came one play after Al Harris's interception. So Denver's defense steps up again, this time versus Sam Brandon. So still 7-0 in favor of the Green Bay Packers, but not feeling. Have you feeling a little bit antsy right now because your team is not has been kind of cold since their opening possession.
yeah, very cold indeed, and no pun intended if you're at Lambeau Field because they can get cold.
Oh yeah, temperature was at kickoff was 43 degrees, and yeah, Yeah, it was, but it wasn't not as chill as they thought it would be. That being the guys at CBS, but still a cold day at Lambeau nonetheless. As for the get, as for Mr. Jackson, that pass, that interception would be his last of the day, and his final numbers were 49, 41 yards, that mentioned interception, and 18.5 pass rating, which is worse if you did nothing but spike the ball in the ground on every play, holding January 9 there. But anywho, yep. Speaking of Mr. Hoop, now as for his replacement, still familiar with his name, Danny Cannell, he would come in. Maybe he can spark the Denver offense, right?
Well, I mean, gotta try something because Denver, Denver's having a tough time, with those 3 and outs, and Green Bay and Arizona, they own the driver's seat.
Yep. Well, unfortunately, Mr. Cannell, the same song, second verse, same as the first. Broncos offense can't do anything because they go 3 and out on his first possession under center. So they get the ball back to Green Bay, and well, they finally are able to regain their mojo and put some points on the board with Ryan Longwell connecting a 32-yard field goal. When you know it, in the late in the second quarter, it's 10-0 Green Bay. So okay, yeah, that looks good.
Yep. So Green Bay looking good. Arizona still looking good. Minnesota hasn't really done anything yet.
No, they haven't, at least in terms of scoring. So here we are. We're going to go back to Tempe. It is now a buck 31 remaining in the first half, and Vikings are at their own, deep in their own territory, need a long drive. But unfortunately, on 3rd and 8, Culpepper is intercepted by Dexter Jackson, the man you see right here, number 34. And he returned it 30 yards to the Minnesota 10 with 55 seconds remaining. And you're watching this, you're a Vikings fan watching this, that's not a good sign.
No, it isn't. Like I'm saying, Arizona, Green Bay in the driver's seat. I'm gonna say that multiple times. Hopefully this episode, but we'll see.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I
Speaking of
did pick,
Arizona, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Even though I did pick Minnesota to win, driver's seat. Remember those key words, driver's seat.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of Arizona, whenever you get a turnover, especially in your own deep in the opponent's territory, you cash in, and sure enough, 3 plays later, Packers connects on his second field goal, this time from 26 yards out, and when you know it, 6-0 Arizona, and it's late in the second quarter, and what's that? This is a Cardinals team that, well, if memory serves right, had a last-ranked defense and last-ranked offense.
Yeah, and it's not surprising that 6-0 it struggled, with those rankings, Amir, on offense and defense. But on the other hand, Minnesota, they're not out of it.
No, because there's still enough time in the first half to do something. Let's see here. Well, hmm. Fortunately, the first half for Minnesota ends on a whimper when Kelly Campbell turns the kickoff. Don't know why you want to do that late in the half, and well, pays the price because he's stripped by Kenny King, and Russell Davis recovers the ball as the first half expires, and when do you know it, halftime at Tempe, hometown Cardinals with 3 wins on the season are up 6-0 against the playoff-bound Vikings.
No, I mean, just take the knee and just go into halftime and don't hurt yourself even more, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're down 6-0 to a team that's, well, basically fighting for number one overall pick. You'll try anything to get back into the game, but that's not the way to do it.
No, it is not, and I bet we got some more things happening at Lambeau Field, Amir.
Yes, we do. So as that was going on in Tempe, the Broncos have moved into plus territory. Need some points to win and a half to give them some, I don't know, momentum. So Cannell drops back, looks for a receiver in the end zone, but it is intercepted by number 42 of the Packers, and that ends the half at Lambeau. And you're a Packers fans, feeling feeling good about yourself, but keep in mind that there's still 30 minutes left to play in the season.
Yeah, that is true. Green Bay's looking good. And as for Minnesota, not not looking good. So Amir, I'm assuming we're not. I'm not going to assume this, but I always said anyways. But we're getting close to halftime. If you're in that locker room right now, when it comes to Denver, everybody's saying to themselves like, "Come on, guys, I mean, we got some work. We got to work cut out for us, and we got to get better, get better defensively because we gave up a lot of points. And if you're Minnesota against Arizona, like, come on, guys, we're not out of it quite yet. We're only down by 6. We got plenty of time. Play our game and just get out there and execute.
Yeah, and Arizona, I mean, feel good going off 6-0, but keep in mind, this is the Vikings offense that has Randy Moss, Dante Culpepper, Michael Bennett, Mo Williams. So, and it's a touchdown here can just change the game. So, let's see. And also, speaking of halftime speeches, Bill Romowski chimed in on that. So, take it away,
Playoffs.
sir.
They need to go out there and make plays. That's what this game is about, making plays. If you want to be a playoff team, come out and throw the ball to your top receiver, Randy Moss. Stop running draws. Make plays.
I couldn't say
Yeah,
it any better.
yeah. So that was kind of a good piggyback what I was trying to say because Minnesota, you know, they're in good position when it comes to the playoffs or what have you. And we got these guys like Randy Moss, like you said, Amir, can make plays.
Oh, yeah. And what I'm reading here is you guys get first crack of the ball in the second half in Minnesota, and let's see what you do with it. The last time you got first crack in the first half didn't end well. So, anywho, let's see how it works. Can the Vikings finally get on the board? Oh, excuse me. I forgot that they did not. They went 3-and-out. Okay, so that. All right, excuse me. So they went 3-and-out in their first possession. Okay, so that didn't work out. But your defense responds by forcing you out of their own, so you get the ball back. And when you know it, take advantage. 67 yards and 8 plays at the 1 yard line. I have to assume this time it will be a touchdown, right?
Well, let's see.
Close to the goal line. First and goal.
All right. So, and that Mo Williams scores for the Vikings. That flag would be on Arizona, so the touchdown stands, and also followed by the PAT that was successful. 7-8 away to go in the third quarter at Tempe. Minnesota is in front of Arizona. So Viking fans, that's good.
Yeah, way to hang in there, and I mean, this is a team that needs to execute right out the locker room, and sure they did.
Yep. Meanwhile, in Green Bay, word of Williams' score is now starting to go, starting to reach the fans, and they're not too happy with that. And as for the product on the field, well, they Broncos have finally scored. They got on board with a Jason Elam 31-yard field goal. So with 4-3 left to go in the third at Lambeau, Denver's making a game of it. But just when it appeared they were about to engineer a comeback, Green Bay starts to pick it up. And well, remember that Amon Green character I said to keep in mind, Keenan?
Oh, yes, uh-huh.
Well, he had something to say.
Touchdown. That looked way too easy.
Way too easy indeed, Greg Gumbel, because Green walked in the end zone untouched. And what do you know it now? With 4-3 to go, Green Bay has extended their lead 17-3. And it's okay, that's a good sign. But then we got the ensuing kickoff. Okay, what happened here? Well, ensuing kickoff, not just yet, sir. So Adrian Medice returns at 83 yards at the Packers' 12-yard line, and what do you know it? Now the Broncos have life once again because now they score here. It's a 7-point game, and momentum will be on their side. So you're the Packers defense. You got to step it up, right?
Most definitely. And if you're the Packers defense, then um, I mean, Denver, Denver looking pretty good themselves. So a lot can happen.
All right. Well, fourth and goal from the Green Bay one. Cannell drops back, looks for a receiver, fires in the end zone, can't connect. So Green Bay makes a stand. All right.
Hmm. That's good. If you're Green Bay,
Oh yeah, that pass was intended for Charlie Adams. So, but now you got the Packers at their own 1 yard line. So if you get a safety, you get the ball back. But I think the Packers have different plans in mind.
Mon Green and Nick Bushey in the backfield, and this is Green. Look at Green. Line south. 20, 10, touchdown.
What do you know about that?
oh, Green Bay had a plan and they executed. That's for sure.
Yeah, and what do you know it? In the span of 7 seconds, Broncos had a chance to cut the lead. Instead, now they're down by 3 scores. And Lamont Green, that was 98 yards. That would put him over 200 yards rushing and finish the night with 218 yards and 2 touchdowns, including that aforementioned 98-yarder. And with 13-8 to go in regulation, Green Bay is in good, look, looks good now. Packer fans, you can breathe a little easier, at least what's going on at your end of the bargain.
So remember when I said Denver was looking pretty good for that particular moment? I was uh that that turned out not to be the case. I mean, the flip of the switch, boom, Green Bay on its way to execute.
Yep, and then on the ensuing kickoff, Mr. Agent Medice, who was the hero on the previous one, but what can he deliver as an encore?
Ball pass, bounce past him, and now chasing it down is Medice. And Medice is going to get corralled inside the 5 yard line. There's a loose ball in the end zone. Touchdown.
All right. Well, what do you know about that? In the span of 7 seconds, Green Bay's backup has scored again.
Man, oh man, you gotta be feeling good if you're Green Bay, right? Because you get the fumble recovery, and all of a sudden, oh, I see the end zone. I'm gonna run towards it, and there you go.
Yep, so Mr. Medice, who, like Kelly Campbell, unfortunately tried to do a little too much on the kickoff and paid the price. This was more severe because he was struck by James Whitley of the Packers at the goal line, and Marcus Williams fell on the loose ball in the end zone. And what do you know? In the span of 8 seconds, the Packers have scored twice, and it's, well, 13-18 left to go in regulation. That should have been 13-24 previously. But anyway, Green Bay's now comfortably in front of the Denver Broncos. But hold on a second. Hold on. You got to remember that game in Tempe. What's going on there? Can't forget about the Cardinals and Vikings.
No, you cannot. And oh, I'm curious, Amir. You know, we talked about the Lambo guys for the last 5 minutes now, and you gotta be wondering to yourself what's going on with those Vikings.
Well, in the midst of that scoring frenzy at Lambeau, let's just say the Vikings offense woke up.
Ontario Smith in the backfield. Culpepper. Touchdown.
All right, so we got Randy Moss giving the ball, and sure enough, why not throw it to him in the end zone? And what do you know? Minnesota's up by 8, and it's now early in the fourth quarter at Tempe, and the NFC North title looks inevitable for the purple and gold.
Yep, all according to plan if you're Minnesota and Green Bay. You know, doing what they have to do for sure.
Oh yeah, and that was came with now that's 8:59 to go in regulation, so that's a good. So yeah, good. So what's next up? The defense goes back on the field, and what do you know? One play in, they deliver.
Bolden in motion. McCown. Ball is batted in the air, and it looks like the Vikings have intercepted it. Kevin Williams, the rookie from Oklahoma State, comes down with it.
Oh yep, Kevin Williams, the defensive tackle they drafted in spring that year, makes a big play. And what do you know it? They're at the Arizona 29-yard line with 8:48 to go in regulation. And when you know another, I say go to the end zone, put this game away, and sew up that NFC North title.
Yeah. So Minnesota is now in the driver's seat. You know, Arizona had it in the first half, and, and Minnesota was like, "Excuse me, I'll take the wheel."
Yeah, well, I think Mike Tyson's halftime speech and Bill Romanowski's speech in the booth, I say, is paying dividends right now for Minnesota. As for this drive, well, the Cardinals defense only held the Vikings to 1 yard in 3 plays because they gained six, but then lost one on the false start. So they had to settle for a field goal. And while Elling makes up for his earlier miss by connecting on his 46-yarder, Vikings are up by 11. But if you're a fan, you're probably saying to yourself, maybe we should have gone for it.
Yeah, maybe he could have taken that risk, or had a chance of converting.
Yep. Either, but either way, it's a two-possession game. Um, in Tempe, it's going according to plan for the Vikings finally. And yeah, there's 6:52 to go in regulation. Yeah, Arizona's last ranked offense, which has been basically listless in the second half. There's just no way they're going to come back.
No, unfortunately, Arizona had a few had a few good moments throughout this game, and Minnesota was like, "We can't let this happen."
Nope. And if you're the Packers, you're like you feeling good after that, scoring frenzy, but it looks like that's going to be all for naught because Minnesota's taking care of business out of Tempe.
Mhm. Because Minnesota, if they win, they get that division locked up.
Yep. But hold on a second. Keep in mind, it's 6:52 to go in regulation. Is it the one movie read on any given Sunday, or game's not over just yet? And what do you know? What the Arizona offense? I don't know what happened. They woke up. There you go.
McCown throws. Touchdown Cardinals. Steve Bush on the receiving end.
Whoa. What do you know about that?
Well, they had a response, and lo and behold, they converted.
Yep, and that capped off a 14-play, 60-yard drive, and that touchdown came with a buck 52 remaining in regulation. So now the Cardinals are down by 5, need to go for 2 to make it a 3-point game. Fortunately, they did not get it, so now they got to go for the onside kick. And you're Minnesota, you got your hand teams out, and you're saying to yourself, recover it, we're at home 3, right?
Well, if you're Minnesota, you gotta say to yourself, get the ball, get out of here, let's celebrate like it's no tomorrow. Arizona, they might have something to say.
Well, let's see how this onside kick works out. Well, keep in mind, fans of Lambeau, they're definitely starting to news of this has reached them. They're wondering, okay, we might have a chance here. Let's see what happens.
The onside kick.
I heard they got it. Who recovered it though? And I'm covering the bodies here. I
Let's
see a
see.
guy with
Going
red
to the
jersey.
pile. Going to the pile. Going to the pile. What?
I see someone with a red jersey, and that means Cardinal ball, and it's number Mr. Damian Anderson in Arizona. And, well, what do you know? Arizona has the football, and Packer fans, you got to be saying, "Wow, it's we have a shot." Vikings, I'm sweating.
Yeah. 2 minutes ago, I thought Minnesota had it locked up, and all of a sudden, not so fast, that touchdown and onside kick recovery, and man, tables have turned tremendously.
Oh yeah, so Arizona, they got the ball now with a buck 46 to go in regulation, and well, they pick up right where they left off, and they before you know it, they're inside the Vikings 10-yard line. And as this is going on back at Lambeau, Packer fans are chanting, "Let's go Cardinals." But as this is going on 2nd and 6 from the Vikings 6-yard line, Cardinals begin to self destruct. First, with an 8-yard loss when Cowan sacked by the mentioned Williams. And one play later, Lance Johnstone gets Mr. McCown, and this time he fumbles. But luckily, his offensive lineman, Reggie Wells, falls on the football, and with 8 seconds left, Cardinals use their last timeout, and they face a 4th and 24 from the Minnesota 28-yard line. Anything could happen here, but is Arizona going to actually pull this off?
Well, definitely need a miracle, like a short hail mary pass. Uh, that's what I would draw up if you're Arizona. Try to look for receiver open, and they're gonna definitely cover downfield if you're Minnesota as well. So
Yeah, Minnesota, you better have plenty of defenders in the end zone because that's where they're going. And in Arizona, you got a rookie named Anquan Bolden. I heard he's a pro bowler, so I would go look for him. But yeah, Minnesota, it's 8 seconds away from the playoffs. Arizona, 8 seconds away from being spoiler. And oh yeah, Lambeau Field. I know people in the press box are watching the game. The fans on the radio or with their radio sets, they're listening to what's going on. And also the guys that are watching this on TV, wherever they are around the country, they're watching. Long story short, hang on to your seats, people. It's time to buckle them up because it's going to come down the wire, Tempe. So, Paul Allen, what do you have for us, sir?
Here it is. The season's on the line. Two receivers left and right. McCown takes the snap. He steps up. He's all by himself. Fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No! No! The Cardinals have knocked the Vikings out of the playoffs. I believe it was caught by Nate Poole. He's being mocked by his Cardinal teammates. They're Minnesota Vikings crying on the field.
What just happened? The Cardinals, did they just cool this off?
oh man, that's crazy. That's all I could say. Crazy.
Yeah, and also, who's this Nate Poole guy? Well, because I don't remember. Oh, he is on the roster, but I heard he got cut 4 times, has a few catches on the season, but okay, I know he's going to be a well-known name in the Minnesota area now. Anything they do.
Man, I'm still lost for words after hearing that audio. But Nate Poole, he looks like an offensive lineman, right?
No, he's a wide receiver, and say coming into the game again got cut 4 times by the Arizona Cardinals. Only had a few catches on the year going into it. Well, he's from North Carolina A&T, and well, yeah, here it is. Yeah, he had 13 catches for a buck away and a touchdown coming into that game. So yeah, But on this play, he etched his name into NFL lore with the game-winning touchdown pass, and Paul Allen's reaction was for KFAN was, yeah, iconic, hilarious, and your Vikings fans, heart-wrenching. And the photos I'm about to show from both teams reflect it.
That perfectly sums it up. I know you can't see it on Spotify on our listeners, but I mean, imagine you winning the biggest scene of your life, and then if you're Minnesota, you're losing the you're losing the most heartbreaking scene that you ever come across. I can describe it.
Yeah, you can see the emotion in the Vikings players' faces. I mean, they were 8 seconds away from getting to the playoffs, and then out of just like that, it was taken away from them. But you're Arizona, you'll take you'll take it because you had nothing to play for. Weren't supposed to even be in the game, and what do you know it? On the at the buzzer, you pull off the impossible.
It is like a buzzer beater, kind of like an NBA basketball game. It's just the ball is being tipped around, because of the defenders, and all of a sudden one guy comes up with it, and that's that.
Yep. And meanwhile, back at Lambeau, well, they are the word starts to spread around, and well, this is what they heard.
And the ball is caught. Touchdown Cardinals! They pull, and the Cardinals win the game on the final play. And the Vikings are going home for the new year.
Yeah, that's Bob Cush of Arizona Radio Cardinals Radio Network, and then for Wayne Larry V, well, you take it away, sir.
Play of the regular season for the Vikings. They lose 18-17.
So yeah, so what do you know? It's pandemonium at Lambeau Field.
Pandemonium is right. Oh, and Green Bay is like wiping up the sweat and going, phew.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta be feeling relieved, saying like, man, we didn't look, things did not look good going into December and even today, but somehow, some way, a miracle happened, and we're going to the playoffs and hosting the playoff game.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool right there.
Oh yeah, Mike Sherman, well-deserved Gatorade shower, and Packer fans. Oh yeah, you're celebrating. Some of them were shirtless. Don't know how they do it in the cold weather, but either way, you could care less. Your team's going. You're going to be team's hosting the playoff game once again.
I guess some people have a knack for it. Some people can tolerate the polar weather, and some people can't.
Oh yeah. Having said all that, the playoff picture has been set. Just take note of the one down here because we touched especially the two teams with the first round buys. So here it is. So Green Bay is going to host Seattle. Dallas is going to go to Carolina. And two teams are getting a week off. Eagles and the Rams. As for the AFC, Broncos will return to Indianapolis. Baltimore will host Tennessee, where the Patriots and the Chiefs will get the week off, and because they had top seeds in their respective conferences. As for that game in Green Bay, guess who was happened to get a who was in attendance for that game?
Couldn't be couldn't be Brett Favre, right? No, wait, no, that's not remotely close.
Well,
Uh,
Brett Favre was
ten,
going to play in the game, but I'm talking about the band in the stand. That is
fan and stand. Okay, I give up. What?
the man who caught that game-winning touchdown pass in Tempe, Nate Poole.
Wow, I that's that's cool. I mean, if you're yeah, pretty neat.
Oh yeah, he was serious with then Wisconsin Governor Scott McCollum. He's in chatting with him, and thanked the fans, and they thanked them because they wouldn't be hosting that playoff game without his efforts and his team as well. And Green Bay would go on to win that game in overtime. Al Harris had an interception that previous week, took a Matt Hasselbeck interception back for a touchdown. That's also the we want the ball. We're going to score game for all those who've seen this. So yeah, that was that game, which again kicked off an exciting playoff. Maybe the best playoffs ever in NFL history, in my opinion, because it was most part the games were close throughout. And of course, the Super Bowl was a thriller. Our team came on the losing end, but either way, I don't think the playoffs have ever been matched before in NFL history.
Yeah, and think about the NFL today. We're gonna we're entering week 17 this weekend on Sunday, and this video should be out before this Sunday. Um, we're gonna see some things that we haven't seen in quite some time when it comes to meetings and or when it comes to teams that are gonna get certain seeding.
Oh yeah, 'cause again, the NFC North is at stake this Sunday between again involving the Vikings and this time the Lions, who interesting enough played a factor in Eagles getting home field because they upset the Rams that day because Rams are going for the number one seed in the NFC playoffs, but instead Lions upset them and rode to the Super Bowl wearing to Philadelphia. Although Rams and Eagles get upset by the Panthers, but that's another story for another time and place. As for the Broncos, yeah, their playoff stay was quick and painful as they got demolished by the Colts, 41-10. And as for Arizona, well, they were slated to pick number one going into the game. With that win, and the Chargers win, they would finish at a three-way tie, and also the Giants were 4-12, and the Raiders as well. Excuse me, and they would end up picking fourth, but it would work out. They'd get a Larry Fitzgerald, whereas the Giants would go, or excuse me, the Chargers would get the number one overall pick, and they would draft Eli Manning. But of course, if you know from one of the first episodes we covered, Eli didn't go to the Chargers. You ended up going to the Giants, and I'd say that worked out well for both ends because they ended up. Eli did good things with the Giants. Philip Rivers, man, they were good instead. He did things with the Chargers, excuse me. And Larry Fitzgerald, yeah, he was also now out. Well, actually, he was next year, but he'll be in Canton as well. Eli Manning's now first on the ballot this year. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's funny. Our first video of 2025, Amir, uh, or first video of 2025. Yes, we bring back Eli Manning in episode 2. We talk about Eli Manning.
Yeah, talk about circling back, and and also before we wrap this up, I bring up those four teams that finished 4-12: the Chargers, Chargers, Raiders, Cardinals, Giants. Well, they also have one other thing in common. They defeated the Vikings that year in 2003.
That's a wild wild stat. Minnesota. Gotta gotta feel for him.
Yeah, and keep in mind, three of those came during the Vikings mid-November slump, and then of course the one that broke their backs is the heartbreaker in Arizona, where they again lost in the last play. What would be their season?
Yeah, so that's interesting. And little quick note, I do like the all tell logo in the back there with the two guys and Larry Fitzgerald. To be honest.
Oh yeah. But yep, yeah, Altel, yeah. We're going back and bringing up Altel and Walkman, folks. And this is what this podcast is all about: taking back in time.
Most definitely, and more about that story after this recording. But coming up next, folks, we're gonna talk about a certain someone that called 2 playoff games at once.
Yep, and it's going to involve these two teams. Well, these two teams right here, and finishing up a first round buys at stake. So stay tuned, everybody.
You're listening to Double Header. Be sure to like and subscribe.
All right, so we're back. So my story's over. And before we concluded, of course, you saw me circle the top two seeds in the AFC in 2003 playoffs. I being the Chiefs and Patriots. Of course, you remember 2003, the Patriots won their second Super Bowl in franchise history. And we're going to be a dynasty for the next decade in the NFL, winning six between 2001 and 2019. And meanwhile, in Kansas City, they would have periods of success, but wouldn't get over that hump. But now we fast forward to almost a year or 16 years later to the day when Minnesota and Green Bay were battling out for playoff positioning. Well, the Chiefs and Patriots are in a very similar position, as the team will explain.
Yeah. So the Kansas City Chiefs, New England Patriots, and the Miami Dolphins, and there's one more.
LA Chargers.
LA Chargers. Yeah, I blinked so hard on that last team. So when it comes to two games, so as you can see on the screen, I'm calling both games. So we'll get to that quote here later in the slideshow. So without further ado, let's see which networks or which broadcast crew is going to call the game. So first and foremost, we have the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chargers, which both took place, or excuse me, this game took place on December 29th, 2019 at start time, 1 p.m. Arrowhead Stadium, and location was Kansas City, Missouri. The attendance on this game was 73,680. CBS Sports was the television distributor, and Kevin Harlan and Rich Gatton and Dana Jacobson on the call. And the New England, meanwhile, on the New England side versus Miami, we have the start time being 1 p.m. on December 29th, 2019. So hey, we have a double header, no pun intended. So the location is the Foxborough, Massachusetts, in the stadium being at Gillette Stadium. The attendance of 65,878. And CBS Sports will broadcast both that game as well, with Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, and Melanie Collins on the call. And get this, folks, the Patriots and Chiefs were fighting for the number two seed in the AFC playoff. The Chiefs had the tiebreaker of the Patriots due to their 23-16 victory on December 8th. So, as you can see on the right hand side of your screen, we have the two stadiums, which is Arrowhead and Foxborough. So, Amir, what do you think?
Looks good, makes sense, and so yeah, they Chiefs had beaten the Patriots earlier that month in Gillette, 23-16, and they came into that game 8-4. Patriots 11-1, and I know the Patriots came in December as usual, 10 plus wins and the AFC's title hold, but not locked up. But then after starting with that game, they hit a cold streak and only won one game in their last three, which in with giving the division. Whereas Kansas City, they were in the midst of a winning streak that started in early November, and they haven't looked back since, and it's working out in their favor so far.
Yep, it sure has. So, you gotta be thinking to yourself, you know, this is crazy. Like a lot going on here at the same time with between these four teams. But yes, I said four teams instead of two. So, like I said, doubleheader reference. So, anywho, we have the pregame notes is done. So we're gonna get to quarterbacks and some more pregame notes. So competing for the AFC numbers for the one seed. So record coming into the regular season finale, 11-4 for Kansas City, and then we got record coming into the regular season finale for New England, which is 12-3. The Chargers are 5-10 coming into the regular season, and for Miami Dolphins 4-11. So the spoilers for Chargers in Miami. I mean, hey, anything can happen in the NFL. And if you're Kansas City, New England, you gotta be saying to yourself, we gotta feel good. We gotta feel good about ourselves.
Yeah, and so yeah, I mean, Kansas City just know we win. Dolphins somehow upset the Patriots, and we get that first round bye or the second bye that is. That should be number 2 seed, but either way. And for the Patriots, hey, we've had every year in this in 2010s we've had a bye week, and it's worked to our benefit because we're always playing the AFC Championship game, and then once we're close to another Super Bowl, and heck, we beat the same team 43-0 in week 2, and while they've had game momentum, hey, they haven't won in this place in over a decade. So that streak's not ending today.
Yeah, so those are good points, Amir. For people watching and listening on streaming this episode on Spotify or YouTube. So, with that being in mind, what is your predictions going into each of the matchups? Any predictions or any surprises?
Let's see here. I picked Kansas City to win uh, back in 2019 because it's happened in real time, and I somehow picked the Dolphins. I knew because they gained some momentum late in the second half of the season despite being picked to tank. But I think, but we're factoring in that again, their momentum and the Patriots were struggling on offense despite their top-rated defense. But I knew the game in Gillette would be close. Or a game in Arrowhead would be rather, let's say, two-possession game.
Yeah, I remember back in 2019, I, I was, because we did NFL weekly picks over the phone. So
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure, I'm 95% sure I picked the Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots. And I mean, I think they're. I mean, you gotta be saying to yourself, these, uh, this has gotta be a blowout. No question about it.
On paper, for both games, yeah, you would say they should win these games handedly. But then again, like we saw in previous presentation, and anything can happen. Or as Chris Berman would say, that's why they play the games.
Mhm. Wonder how many times you've said that quote the last 8 months in here. So, or
Oh, it is the playoff season, and anything can happen.
so with that out of the way, we talked about the pregame. We talked about the quarterbacks and the team. Now we got some notes about each side. So Chiefs won the coin toss and deferred Chargers to receive the opening kickoff. So the Chargers' first drive lasted 7 plays, so no point, unfortunately. But the Chiefs was able to get downfield with the Harrison Bucker field goal.
It's away. Oh, look at that wing. Push that ball right through a 40-yarder.
All right, so it's 3-0, like you see on your screen. The Chiefs back at home. It's 3-0. So nothing really transpired throughout the rest of the first quarter. So we're going to move on straight to the second. And the Chargers were able to counter an 11-play drive with up 24 yards, ended in this.
Down and 10. Pipkins the block on Clark to the end zone. That's grab, Allen, touchdown. What a catch. And he worked on the defensive back, Kendall Fuller.
So Keenan Allen finding the end zone.
Yeah, and well, that's it. So be a little nervous out in Arrowhead, and if you're a Chiefs fan. But I'm wondering what's happening in Gillette. I mean, I think the Patriots have scored by now, right?
Well, let's see about this audio clip.
Bill Belichick had many great compliments when talking about Brian Flores.
Picked off! Going to the end zone is Eric Rowe for the touchdown.
And I'm not even sure who that football was for. It was in between.
Well, That's a little rough.
Yeah, I will say, yeah, because 'cause, yeah, Dolphins. What I'm seeing here, they're already up 10-0, and it's early in the second quarter. So, say both home teams are a bit the fans of home teams are a bit uneasy right now because the road teams are winning, and the number one two seeds at stake, but the home teams won it. What I've seen so far.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a rough out for Tom Brady. He threw an interception in his own end zone, and that should be in the second quarter instead of the first quarter. But because it's 10-0 advantage already.
Yeah, because I had Jason Sanders had that field goal in the first quarter, but yeah, it's like I said before, Chiefs. You're liking what's going on in Gillette, but you're saying now our team's got to start picking up the pace, and same thing for the Patriots. It's like okay, and now we're in the days of okay, we got to have phones, my screensaver, and they get updates and saying okay, we see what's going on there, but now we need that momentum swing for our teams here.
Hmm. Absolutely, but Let's quickly go back to our friend the team the Airheads team with Kevin Harlan. So, but the Chiefs two Chiefs drives later, they regulated to the lead with 2:16 to go, which led to a 10-7 lead for Kansas City.
And lose and get to number 2 in the conference in the playoffs. 1st and 10, Mahomes deep, caught for a touchdown. Grab by Tamarcus Robinson. Works on Jenkins.
What way to respond?
Kansas City. Yep, Kansas City with an immediate response for a couple plays to get there. So 10-7 Kansas City. All right. So with that second quarter, which leads to back at Gillette, forcing a 3-and-out. Uh, so let's see what happens here.
The bargain in this fight for a first round bye. Brady deep down the sideline has a man open. Diving catch is made by Philip Dorsett inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal. Michelle following Robert to the end zone for the touchdown.
All right.
Amir, you gotta feel for New England now because they found a way to climb back into this game.
Yeah, so what a way to bounce back as well, or way to respond. So both home teams are starting to live up to their billing, and so the race is still on for AFC number, or the race for the number 2 seed in AFC is getting a little better now.
Mhm. Most definitely. But back at Arrowhead with Kevin Harlan, the Chargers have plenty of time to respond until this happened on a 2nd and 3.
Up the middle they come. And downfield he goes. It's picked off by Matthew. Tyrann Mathieu. Big time interception. Maybe the Chiefs MVP. The way he has played this year.
So it's looking in the ways of Kansas City and New England at the moment.
Yeah, Kansas City looking pretty good, but that interception at the end of the half, pretty to the Honey Badger. So you're up leading at halftime. That's expected, but keep in mind it's up by 3. We got Andrew's going to tell the troops like, hey, we still got a lot of work to do. For Anthony Lynn, there we go for the Chargers. They're like, hey, folks, we're not out of this game just yet. We may be down, but we can still keep pace with these guys. They're division rivals. Meanwhile, at Gillette, it's a tie game. So if you're Bill Belichick, you got one thing to say: do your job. And Brian Flores, you know that you're saying the same thing or something around the line to your troops on inside the other locker room.
Hmm. So looking at the halftime here, you are absolutely right. So do your job if you're New England being tied up at 10, and if you're the Miami, you're feeling pretty good too. And if you're on the other side of the coin, if you're Kansas City, you feel pretty good about yourself. And I would be a little disappointed too, Chargers fan.
Yeah, disappointing you didn't have a chance to take the lead at half, but you're feeling like, well, still got 30 minutes left to play, and they can happen.
Anything can happen indeed. I mean, it's close, right?
Right.
So second half rolls along. Let's see, I get the pictures in here. So second half rolls along here. So two plays into their first drive at Arrowhead in the second half. This took place.
Mahomes intercepted and picked off by Mike Davis. It's a pickoff right there. Watkins can't make the tackle, slipping away. Schwartz is on his back and brings him down.
Ooh, so if you're Kansas City, you were cheering 10 minutes ago, and all of a sudden, coming out of the locker room, Patrick Mahomes, probably the best quarterback in the league right now. That was a pick.
Not the way you want to start the second half. You're the Chiefs, but you're the Chargers. Couldn't run up any better.
Yep. So three plays later, Chargers cashed in.
The block in there by Green, a touchdown run. Melvin Gordon from 5. And the Chargers have reclaimed the lead at Arrowhead.
So Melvin Gordon finds the end zone, and he was man. I don't know where he is now, but he was. I think he's one of the most underrated running backs in the NFL.
He was around that time, and he knew he had a nose for the end zone. And speaking of which, I know that it got quiet real fast at Arrowhead.
He got real quiet. So, let's see what happens. Well, let's go on to the other side of Mirror and check out what's going on.
Under pressure, Fitzpatrick to the 5, to the end zone. Touchdown, Miami.
Okay.
Well, Patriots went 3-and-out on their first possession of the second half. Dolphins took advantage, and Fitzpatrick, gets a touchdown.
Yeah, and man, it's like so the road teams once again have stolen the show in Foxborough and Gillette and Arrowhead.
But the Patriots had something up their sleeve right after that ensuing touchdown late in the third quarter with under 5 minutes to go.
Brady wide open out here is Roberts, the linebacker, to the 10, to the 5, touchdown.
Wow,
How about that?
Right there. He took the drive on mouth, Trent Green, former Chief, by the way.
How about that is right? Like you said, Amir, right?
Yep, and also Trent Green used to play for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, you cannot picture that any better.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Well, it's tied up at roulette. So let's see what's going on in our friends at Arrowhead Stadium with Kevin Carlin. So the Chargers were trying to respond, or actually, excuse me, the Chargers lead did not last long, and it led to an ensuing kickoff.
The other audio, yeah, I think, yeah, you're at the right one, yeah.
Hardman is back there. He'll bring it out. Nicole Hardman gets a block from Sherman, gets a block from Thompson. He's off to the races, cuts inside. You can kiss him goodbye.
Yes, you can, Kevin.
And once he made it halfway down the field, he was pretty much gone to the races.
Yes, he was. Nicole Hardman, who would made the roster, but he was a Pro Bowl kick returner for the Chiefs in 2019.
Yeah. And kid you not, I actually do remember seeing that game, that ensuing kickoff, and that call that Kevin Harlan made. You kiss him goodbye. And lo and behold, still holds up.
Yes, it does.
So Chargers were trying to respond, but let's just see if they can.
Rivers is done passing through the air on third down. 3rd and 11. They need the 44. Blocked by Feeney. Here comes Suggs. Number 139.
What's his name? Philip Rivers.
Yep.
Philip Rivers sacked, and that was some momentum. But shortly thereafter, Kansas City cashes in.
1st and 10, Damian Williams, blocked by Kelsey, blocked by Whitfield. Oh, and he spins free! There he goes! It's a foot race! Perriman trying to get him. There he goes for 6, galloping 84 yards.
Reminiscent of Amon Green's 98-yarder from 16 years earlier.
That's a good point. That's a good point indeed. So, and it was a beautiful spin move that the guy did, and he was able to break free like Kevin Harlan announced or a call from the broadcast booth. And I couldn't explain it better myself, Kevin.
Yeah, and also, Terrell Suggs was a rookie in 2003. He was still in the NFL at that point. Of course, he was at the Ravens for the majority of his career, and then signed Arizona that offseason before he then signed with the Chiefs for the 2019 regular season came to an end.
Mm-hmm. So that's something to keep in mind later on, I would say, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So the Chargers in the fourth quarter now. We're in the fourth quarter now, folks. Let's go ahead and actually switch back to Gillette. So after both teams traded punts away, the Dolphins failed to the New England 15-yard line, which made it a 3-point lead for Miami. So let's see.
Under pressure, Fitzpatrick escapes and on the move and throws in and out of the hands of Devontae Parker inside the 5-yard line. Good from 27 earlier, this from 32 for the lead. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
And that kick was able to be successful to make it a 3-point lead. So back to the fourth quarter now. So we have the Chargers were able to regain their footing, failing 14 plays and 86 yards to the Kansas City 8-yard line to make it a 3-point 24-21 lead for Kansas City. And the Chiefs were able to get the ball back with 5:12 in regulation, and they reached the 7-yard line, of the Chargers to make it a Chiefs were able to get the ball back with 5:12 left in regulation. So let's see.
Rivers, Hunter Henry, and diving for a touchdown. He's in. The tight end, Hunter Henry.
So that's my mistake, folks. So Amir, you gotta be saying to yourself, man, oh man, this is intense.
Yeah, because Chargers got to the early lead or in the third, and then the Chiefs responded with scoring 14 unanswered, and also over in Gillette. Miami scores 10, New England scores ties it up, but they're winning, and the Chiefs are winning, the Dolphins are winning, so you're feeling good on that end, and then Chargers respond, and it's now a 3-point lead, and you're like, okay, they want to hold up on the celebration. And back in Gillette, you're like, well, okay, we have a little momentum, but is our team going to? Now we need a response from our team.
Well, Patriots were counted traveling to the Miami 13-yard line, and which led to this play right here with 3:53 left.
Brady sets up the screen. James White, the 10, the 5, touchdown.
All right, so Patriots are back in front.
Chiefs are back in front, or not Chiefs, but the Patriots are back in front now for us for now. But
hmm
let's see. So yeah, it's a little confusing. We're going back and forth, but that's what makes it fun. But so with that, back at Arrowhead, we have they reached the Chargers 7-yard line with 2:42 left in regulation. And let's see what happens with this game. Oh my goodness.
First and goal at the 7. The offset eye was Sherman, the fullback, the block there, and by Bell, and Williams digs and turns, corkscrews for 6. What a run! Touchdown!
So what an acrobatic play by the running back, and was able to get the cash in. Meanwhile, back at Arrowhead, Tucker converted the extra point, and something transpired 1,422 miles away, which led to Kevin Harlan doing some sort of double header announcing a broadcast.
Meanwhile, Miami has first and goal down by 4. And they're at the New England 4-yard line, first and goal. 29 seconds left. Here, Butker kicks the extra point. And Fitzpatrick throws in the end zone. Touchdown, Miami! The Dolphins have just scored. Gesicki, the tight end, got a laser in the back of the end zone on a goal-to-go touchdown pass by Miami quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick to take a lead with 24 seconds to go. The extra point coming up for Miami, leading New England 26-24. And the crowd now knows it. What a throw by Fitzpatrick. What a touchdown run by Williams on the last weekend of the regular season in the NFL. If the Chiefs win and New England loses, the Chiefs will be the 2 seed. They'll get the bye, and they'll have a home game the next weekend.
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games. Here is the extra point. The Dolphins have just gone up on New England 27-24 with 24 seconds to go.
So Kevin Harlan doing Kevin Harlan themes, right?
Yeah, and keep in mind he used to do radio play-by-play for the Chiefs, and now he's doing it for CBS. And then it was one of the surreal moments that people watching at home a bit confused, like, what's going on? What's happening here? Again, they were keeping track of both games. It was going on at Arrowhead and Gillette. So if you're a Chiefs fan or even an NFL fan, you're like, that was a rare sight, but exciting one.
Yeah, and you gotta hand it to Kevin Harlan for sure, because it comes down to what's gonna happen with these teams. Like I mentioned in the first half of our show, I mean, we could see something like that transpire probably this weekend.
Oh, definitely. Like I said, I mean, Mike Gesicki playing the role of Nate Poole. I mean, heck, let's see, who's still got up? I mean, Atlanta and Tampa Bay are fighting for a division, so who knows? Maybe someone in the Panthers or Saints can be this year's Mike Gesicki or Nate Poole. Who, by the way, didn't do much afterwards. After his game-winning catch against Minnesota, Gesicki's still playing that. He's with the Bengals right now. And speaking of the Bengals, oh yeah, I mean they could. I mean they might be playing the role of the Packers. Waiting to see what's going on, ironically, with the Dolphins or the Broncos for that last wild card spot in the AFC.
Hmm. So with that, Kevin Harlan, uh, you know, made the ultimate call, as you can see on screen right now, with the Kevin Harlan, and you got the Miami game, and you got the red zone scoreboard, and you gotta be saying to yourself, if you're Kansas City, you're saying thumbs up, hip hip hooray, whatever it is you guys do. So
Yeah, or as Andy would say after every time they win, how about those cheese? Well, see, Kansas City, you getting the week off, and the fans they love it, and when that score was shown on the board, or when people got the alert on their phones or wrote it down on their cardboard papers, and also that beating Patriots earlier that month, it all worked out.
mhm, for sure. And with that, we're gonna get to a lot of player stats from the four teams that we talked about in this episode on my end. So Phil Rivers went for 31 for 46, 240, 281 yards, excuse me, two touchdowns, two interceptions, 80.1 rating, sack twice.
Yeah, so he put up
Mel-
pretty good numbers, Philip Rivers.
Melvin Gordon, 14 carries for 46 yards and one touchdown, six catches for 76 yards. Keenan Allen, nine catches for 82, one touchdown. Hunter Henry, five catches for 42, one touchdown. And let's take a look on the Kansas City ties for Patrick Mahomes, 65, 174, one touchdown, one interception. Zero sacks for 0 yards, 47 was the longest pass, 81.1 rating. Damian Williams, 12 carries for 124 yards, two touchdowns, four catches for 30 yards. Tyreek Hill for 4 receptions for 61. Nicole Hartman, two kickoff returns for 117. One touchdown, one punt return for 21. So Chargers and Chiefs, Amir, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, Chargers were able to keep it close throughout, but at the end of the day, the Chiefs were able to put it together and, you know, and especially delivered a clinching touchdown with Damian Williams, who made some, we mentioned two people by the name of Damian in this episode, and they both made an impact. And were running backs as well. And also, speaking of running backs, I mean, both the teams that would benefit, that Chiefs and the Packers, they both have running backs go over 100 yards, and both teams scored 31 points.
Yep, for sure. And for Miami and New England, so we have Ryan Fitzpatrick for 28 for 41 and for 320 yards and one touchdown, 99.6 rating. Sacked twice for five rushes for 15 and one touchdown. Devontae Parker with eight catches for 137. Mike Gazowski for four catches for 34 yards and one touchdown. Eric Rowe, five combined tackles, four assists, tackles, and a 35-yard pick six. Keep this in mind, folks. For Tom Brady, 16-25, 174 yards, one touchdown, one interception, zero sacks, zero yards, 47 was the longest of the day for him, passing wise, 88.4 rating and sacked one time. Tony Mitchell, racing carries for 74 yards and one touchdown. James White, three catches and for 33 yards and one touchdown. Two carries and 4 yards. Elton Roberts for a 38-yard touchdown reception. So Amir, like I said, for the Chargers and Chiefs, about to talk Patriots.
Yeah, well, Tom Brady passed for 221 yards, but either way, yeah, it was okay day for him because I know and leading receiver was the running back who had three catches, that being James White, and then second leading receivers all had like one catch each. And when you're on the flip side, the Dolphins, I mean, they're facing the Patriots defense that's number one ranked in the league, and then Fitzpatrick throws for 320 and a score, and Devontae has 137 yards. And keep in mind, they were boat raced by this team second week of the season, 43 to nothing, and then they do that. It's just like just shows you how things can change, and it's just strangely enough. I mean, the Dolphins' offense was will be a little better than the Arizona offense from 2003, but they are more like paid to be like more where the Vikings are, like the number one rated offense, or in this case defense and everything. And it just looked like everything was laid out in their favor, but then they just couldn't get it done when it mattered the most. And Mike Gesicki played the role of Nate Poole. And it's funny enough, we're bringing up the game for 03 again. It's just Greg Gumbel was on hand for both of these occasions. And he rest in
Yeah.
peace. You guys didn't know already.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, for sure. So, man, so what took place after these two games? So, well, the aftermath, AFC playoff picture is set. Baltimore gets the number one seed. Kansas City gets the number two seed. The wild card is the Patriots getting the third seed versus Titans sixth seed. The fifth seed goes to the Buffalo Bills, and the uh, fourth seed Texans get the AFC picture bracket. So after, as a result, losing to the Dolphins, they get the wild card weekend for the first time in a decade. So if you can believe that. So the upset again, this time by the Tennessee Titans, who clinched the final playoff spot later that day in Houston, 20-13, and it will be the last time for Tom Brady as a member of the New England Patriots. So, and will later be signed, as we all know, by Tampa Bay during the off season. As for the Kansas City Chiefs, they took advantage of the week off between the Texans 51-31 in the divisional round, and advancing to the AFC the game where they captured their first Lombardi Hunt Trophy between the Titans, 34-24. So as you can see, Titans we got waved up Tennessee and New England right there on the top left or bottom left, excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, Tennessee beat them in the wild card round. Former pitcher Logan Ryan intercepted his ex-former teammate Tom Brady for that game-clinching touchdown, and that ended the Patriots dynasty because, of course, Brady was let go in the offseason and signed with Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm. And as you can see on the top right of your screen, Kansas City finds a way to get it done. And it's the vision,
Mm-hmm.
but excuse you, and between the Titans 35-24, and they lost to the Patriots at home the previous season 37-31 in overtime, and lo and behold, 2 weeks later the Chiefs end their 50-year championship drought, where they defeated the San Francisco 49ers in that Super Bowl in 2020, as we all know, and which probably starts the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and look for it. And they won their first championship in Miami, and they got there thanks to the Dolphins. So it's like everything came full circle for the Chiefs. And also Kevin Harlan did that game for Westwood One. He was on called for that one. And what do you think here? Yeah, and it's crazy to think the number one seed again. I'm bringing up the Vikings Lions matchup this Sunday. Yeah, that's at stake for once again. So it's crazy how when we made this back in the summer of 2024, we had no clue that the NFC North and home field advantage would be I'd say when we recorded this app at the time of this recording, and when we did it, just because NC North base, home field, well, first round bye base too, because again, it's only the team that gets the top seed gets the week off now. But yeah, just to show you how exciting the last week of regular season is, because anything can happen.
Yeah, and we did not do this on. This was strictly on accident. And this was not done on purpose or anything, right, Amir?
Yeah, it definitely. Cause this was by accident.
So, like we kept saying all episode long, there's a ton to play for this weekend coming up soon, and lo and behold, we talked about two teams that were fighting for the last seeding for the playoffs. So there you go.
Yeah, and it's crazy we're talking about the Chiefs now because their dynasty has since been now that's official with ironically beating San Francisco last year in the Super Bowl. And I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah, just yeah they were yeah five. Cause the guy Nicole Harbin, who I mentioned earlier, with that kickoff return, he scored that game winner in the Super Bowl last year. And as I say that, both the Packers and the Chiefs were expected to meet in that Super Bowl in 2019, but denied us of that. And then one more thing about the Packers and Chiefs, they both scored special teams touchdowns in their wins. So it's so many similarities that I start to notice as we get into this stuff, like like the records, its implications, the scores, the stats, and everything, and even the announcers as well.
Yeah, those are good connections, and I said mine earlier with with the similarities being uh playoff seedings, and we talked about multiple games going on at once. And for us personally, this was the first time that we've actually, it felt like for me personally, calling two games at once.
Yeah, and fitting that this podcast or channel is called Double Header, and what do you know? We're doing double header duty, and I know it seems a little funny to say, but the ads, going back and forth, seeing what's going on, how our team's doing, kind of like what they do at the studios or at Red Zone, updating us what's going on or all across the National Football League, which will be the case this Sunday.
Yeah, so I you, yeah, I put a bow on top of that present for sure because I can't think of a response to that. So, folks, that's the end of my story. And if you like what you see, feel free to give us a like, subscribe down below for more. And if you like what you see, feel free. Or if you want to see more stuff from us, go check out go check us out on Spotify at Doubleheader 97 on Spotify at Doubleheader Podcast. Excuse me. Our Instagram is Doubleheader 97, and check out our works website, which is down below in the description box. And with that, Amir, do you have anything else to add before we sign off?
Well, as we saw in our episodes and this Sunday, Chris Berman once said, that's why they play the games. Hope you all enjoy them this Sunday. Hopefully it works out for your favorite teams because again, playoffs are almost here, and I can't wait. Keenan can't wait, and I know you guys can't wait to see how this NFL season or how this playoff season shapes out.
Absolutely. And before we sign off, I want to wish everyone a happy new year. It's 2025. I know it's 3 days after the new year, but we did our thing during our New Year's celebration. And I hope you guys had a good time as well. Spend some time with family, friends, or whoever, and enjoy your time off. And we're happy to be back and to bring some more content on the YouTube channel.
Definitely, it's hard to believe it's been a year since this podcast started, and we're glad we shared this journey with you guys, and we hope to continue that in 2025.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be a year in April, but it's close to a year.
Mhm.
Um, but we thought of this idea. I would say maybe late 2023 we thought of this idea, and it's been 4 years since we come full circle. So you're right, Amir. So,
Mhm.
anyway, folks, with that being said, with all the sweet talk out of the way, my name is Keenan Costain. He is Amir Daniel, and we'll catch you guys next time. And as always, have a good one, folks.
Yep. Have a good one.